Hi everybody, my name is Robin Dolezal and this is Alex Pars with Ironwood Financial here in Tucson, Arizona. Welcome back to our series on how to find the best financial advisor for you series. Today we actually want to talk about, whether you need a financial advisor, because quite honestly, Alex, not every single person needs a financial advisor. I mean, we'd like to think so, but that's really not the case. We want to talk about, you actually had a story where you met with someone who came in who actually was on the fence and you talked to a little bit. Tell us about that story.
Yeah, it's a great question. The big question we get all the time, and everybody's wondering is, why should I pay someone to help me with my finances? Okay, and I met someone earlier this week, and it was exactly their story. They came in, and they had a portfolio of bonds they'd put together years ago. Okay, and they were individual bonds, and they had long maturities, and they were paying a good rate, and they were just living off the interest. So after we went through their situation, I point blank asked them, why are you even here? Why do you need a financial advisor? And they said, we haven't really decided if we do. We're actually thinking about it, something we've been arguing about quite a bit. But some of the things they came up with were quite interesting. So when they said, the number one thing we see a lot when we ask people this question is the emotion. Okay? It's much easier for a financial advisor to make decisions about your finances, particularly in the stock market, if they're one step removed from your finances. We saw this a lot during the Great Recession, where we were advising people to get back into the markets back after it had sank significantly. Okay.
Yep.
And people were very hesitant.
It was a tough pill to swallow.
Absolutely. And this couple that I sat down with, they told me the story how they got out of the stock market in the Great Recession, and they couldn't bring themselves to get back in. And then by the time they decided they were ready to get back in, it was too late, it had gone up too far, and they've been sitting on the sidelines ever since. And that's been pretty much 10 years of lost potential earnings, okay? And it's been a pretty good 10 years at that in the stock market. So the emotion is a number one thing we see all the time. Another thing they mentioned when I asked them as to why they were considering a financial advisor is they had this portfolio that didn't need a lot of looking after right now, but it would in the future. As I mentioned, in their situation, they had long-term, high interest-bearing bonds. Well, in an interest rate environment like it today, those bonds are getting called all the time. So now that those bonds are called, they've got cash that they need to reinvest, and they're not quite sure what to do with it. So even though it's a relatively static portfolio today, over the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be a portfolio that's got some movement in it, and there's going to be a lot of decisions they're going to need to make they weren't sure they wanted to make on their own. Okay. Another thing that we find very commonly is people use financial advisor for is a sounding board. Okay, which right. is, I was thinking this, and what do you think of that? Yeah, and sometimes we'll agree, sometimes we'll disagree, sometimes we'll agree, but the way we agree, they come up with a reason why they shouldn't do it. It's very helpful to have someone you can talk about your finances with who is not a friend. I mean, who wants to talk about, their finances or lack of finances or whatever right. with, a good friend of theirs? It makes things awkward. So another reason someone like them might need a financial advisor.
Right.
One other common reason why someone might want a financial advisor, which is kind of out there and something you wouldn't at first think about, is we often run into situations where one spouse or the other is handling the finances and the other one really doesn't care or isn't involved. So
very common.
Yeah. As people get older and into retirement, they figure out, wait a minute, what happens if something were to happen to me and my wife has no idea what's going on? What do they do? So it's very common for people to engage us for something like that, where we work with them for several years, and then when they pass away, we have a comfortable transition to working with their spouse, where they can trust us, they know that we've got their best interest at heart, and we'll take care of them through their retirement. And that way the spouse who originally did it has peace of mind. That is a weird reason people might want a financial advisor, but one we run into all the time. Okay. Again, don't get me wrong, not everybody needs a financial advisor. If you're passionate about doing your finances yourself, if you've got the time, if you've got the discipline to keep after it and watch it, there's not a reason you should hire someone. Okay? Just be careful if you don't hire someone that you really do know what you're doing. You're not doing the latest fad diet, if you will, in the world of finances, because what happens is, just like a fad diet, it works for a while and then it crashes. So make sure you do exhaustive research and take things slow and be a little bit careful. Don't do things outrageous.
Yeah, and I might actually add to that. If it's a time in your life where there's a huge life-changing event in your life, you may actually want to sit down with someone as well to get just a second opinion, a sounding board.
Probably 1 in 4 people we sit down with, we say, you don't need us. You know what you're doing, and you're taking the time to do it. I would feel bad taking your money, so keep doing what you're doing.
Right. Thanks for watching. For more in our series, How to Find the Best Financial Advisor for You, go to our website, ironwoodfinancial.com. Until next time, thanks for watching.